Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So I'm filming in my backyard once again, and of course I'm here to talk about Bitcoin. There is something that's very strange that's happening right now, and I can't seem to figure it out. So as many of you guys know, I've been covering Bitcoin and about its recent volatility, its recent dip, and that's due to some whale selling, right? Now, based on the data, it does seem like most of the selling is coming from the older wallets and primarily the ones held by miners. So there are a lot of data that shows that miners are somewhat capitulating right now. Now, if you think about it, that makes sense, and I've explained this before, but a lot of miners are feeling the pain after the halving event, okay? A lot of you guys don't know the significance about the halving event is that the supply, the inflation rate of Bitcoin gets cut in half. Not that the overall circular supply gets magically cut in half, no, but the amount that is produced and found per block gets cut in half. So before, in total, per day, we would have about 900 released, okay, or found. But that number is now limited at 450. So think about it, okay? So now the inflation rate of Bitcoin has been cut in half. So all the miners that are out there, all the big miners, and there are thousands and tens of thousands of mining rigs, right? Now all of a sudden make half as much as before. So that's a big burden on these miners. So all the infrastructure and the electricity cost, the cooling costs, the personnel costs, everything essentially is now worth half because they are getting half the amount of Bitcoin they used to. So as you can imagine, this puts a huge stress on many of the smaller miners they're just feeling the hurt right now. I don't even know the approximate cost to produce one Bitcoin. Prior, I was hearing it was around 25 to 30,000. So now I'm guessing it's probably between $55 to $60,000 to produce one Bitcoin. So a lot of the smaller miners, you may be thinking, well, they're still in the profit. Bitcoin is still at 65,000. Well, keep in mind, again, there's a lot of overhead and a lot of stuff that may be ongoing and debt they need to pay, and who knows. So it does not surprise me that a lot of the miners, especially the smaller ones, they're feeling the hurt, so they have to sell. But here's what I don't get. There's other data, and one that I'm hearing more about, especially today, is Germany. The country of Germany is now selling Bitcoin. I don't know how they accumulated, but they accumulated a good amount, over $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, they are selling. Arkham has tracked their wallet and saw that they moved $600 million worth of Bitcoin out of that wallet. And they've been distributing and selling them. They divided that up, and they sold about 200 million just today alone across several exchanges. It's weird. They're not trying to do an OTC deal. They're not going to Coinbase and say, hey, you know, why don't you buy this from us or whatever. They are actually selling. So it's just really weird. Why now? Why are they selling Bitcoin? You don't really hear about that with any other country. And, you know, for them to accumulate so much, you figure in the first place, they must have seen something with it, some potential with it. But I don't get why they're selling now, right? So I could speculate, because right now we know that a lot of countries, they're in a difficult situation, just like the US, where they're still kind of dealing with high inflation, but the economies have slowed down so much, they're in a situation where they have to make a decision whether to cut their interest rate or not. I just saw that Switzerland just declared to go do a 25 basis point cut, right? The US skipped on this one. Maybe we do have the first one next month, or maybe in September. England said no, they're going to hold off probably until August. But the ECB said, yes, they're going to cut. So it's like we're kind of in that situation where a lot of countries want to cut or they're forced to cut, but there are still some holding out. So I'm wondering if this actually has to do with Germany itself as a country where they're actually needing the money. I mean, $3 billion is a lot of money, right? And maybe they're so desperate for money, they actually need to sell. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why? Especially now, right? And it kind of seems silly too, as a whole country. Like, what does $3 billion really go do for them, right? Like, that's not enough. They probably need $300 billion or something like that. So, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I really don't know why Germany is selling. And on top of that, right now, we do seem to have a lot of shorts piling up. I covered that this morning and earlier this week. There are a ton of shorters out there that's putting an enormous amount of downward pressure on Bitcoin. That's why we haven't been able to move at all. Because just to get back to 70,000, there's over $1.65 billion worth of shorts just between where we are now to 70,000. I can't even imagine what it is between 70 and 73,000. In total, probably tens of billions of dollars worth of shorts that are now piling on. It almost seems like, you know, the whales or the market makers or the exchanges, right? They're trying to take advantage of the situation, trying to suppress the price, so to speak. And I can't really figure it out. Maybe there is a plan. Maybe the powers that be do not want Bitcoin to go above 70,000 and touch 73 and break into all-time high until a certain time. Maybe that time is September, right? With the very first rate cut. Or there's something else going on, maybe before the election year. Or maybe there's something else that I can't identify, right? But that I do also find that to be quite weird, that the bears who have been hibernating for so long, all of a sudden has so much confidence, and they're all coming out of their hibernation and piling on the shorts. It's so dangerous. I've always said leverage is dangerous, but a guaranteed way to lose money is to bet against Bitcoin and short Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, we know, can shoot up at any time. I still like to remind you guys, just 2 weeks ago, we were above 70,000. We were at 72,000 just 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago. Right? So things can move very quickly. So that's why I don't quite get the confidence that the bears have right now in terms of piling on the shorts, because they're just all looking to get wrecked, I guess, or liquidated. So that's what's happening right now, right? We do have miners selling. Now we have a country like Germany selling. And you got a lot of shorts out there that's keeping the pressure on Bitcoin. So this is all kind of like happening simultaneously. But how should you take this news? Well, first of all, with all this happening, Bitcoin is still holding strong, around 65,000 right now, right? We touched upon 63 a little bit. We bounced off. We're still about 65,000. So think about all the negative attention and pressure right now. Even with the outflows of the ETF, Bitcoin is still holding strong. So that's a very, very positive thing. Also, we know that alts have been decimated, but you know, the last few days we have seen a resurgence a little bit with some of them. So that's also good. So that means retail's not giving up. Retail is DCAing. Retail realize, hey, when there's a discount, you got to buy, right? So that's also very positive. And overall, I think there are just so many good things that's happening in the space, and so many other great things that will be happening in the space. You know, I'm just not worried at all. So this is how I look at it. Even when we were in crypto winter, dead winter, when Bitcoin was below 20,000, I look at the fundamentals, still absolutely fantastic. You look at the technicals, also fantastic. Fundamentals are sky high. Technicals are all showing that we're ready for a bounce and that move to the next leg up. And then if you look at the macro conditions, even though there's a lot of uncertainty out there, it's almost as if, especially in the US, we are going down this path where the macro conditions will be made better on purpose by our Fed Chair Powell, because we have elections coming up, right? So even from a macro perspective, I think is pretty positive, or will be positive, let's say, right? All the bad economic data that's coming out and the fudge inflation data that shows inflation's going down, it's all building up. Perfect storm for money to be flowing. And when the money flows, it flows everywhere, including Bitcoin, right? So fundamentals great, technicals great, macro conditions will be great. So, you know, we're just in that period right now where, yeah, there's some FUD, sideways movement, some dips, right? Trying to put it together for you guys, trying to place everything together. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But overall, what I do know is this. You got to stay strong, continue to hold on DCA. We will get through this period, and we will come out much stronger once we do. That's really it. That's really it. All right, guys. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, usual time, 8:30 p.m. or a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, take care. Bye-bye.